and begin. No, this was the
February
18th. It was. I'm sorry, the 18th.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll go ahead and begin. As you all recall, we had on February 18th a nice storm, and we for the safety of all and to ensure transparency and participation from the citizens that we would back it up to today. And so we had three series of meetings today, the agenda meeting, then we had a special call meeting, and now we're going to address those action items that would have been addressed had we not had the ice storm on February 18th. We're going to do that today. So do we have a invocation? Mr. Mike Hill will, as Assistant City Engineer, will provide the invocation, and I'll lead the pledge. All rise.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening with gratitude for the opportunity to serve the people of Hot Springs. We seek your wisdom and guidance as our leaders and citizens discuss the matters before us. May every decision be made with integrity, fairness, and a spirit of unity, always striving for the good of our community. Bless our leaders and all who speak tonight with clarity of thought, patience, and deliberation, and a heart for service. May the work accomplished here bring prosperity, peace, and well-being to all who live in and around Hot Springs. We also ask for your protection and blessings over our first responders, city workers, and all who dedicate themselves to the safety and success of our city. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll now call this meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Director Aaron Holliday. Here. Director Phyllis Beard. Present. Director Marcia Dobbs-Smith. Here. Director Dudley Webb.
Here.
Director Karen Garcia. Here. Director Steve Trusty.
Here.
Mayor Pat McCabe.
Here. At this time, we'll consider approval of the agenda. Are there any additions, deletions to the agenda, or items to be moved from consent agenda to new business?
Yes, Mayor. First of all, I want to point out that, as the Mayor indicated earlier, the agenda before you, unedited, would have been your agenda for February 18th. It has been edited by removing the wastewater bonds and the public hearing associated therewith, because those are going to be heard on March the 4th. In addition to that, Mayor, agenda item number 9, which would have been Resolution R 25-34, resolution authorizing the filing and acceptance of U.S. Department of Transportation grant to support inventory and assessments and recommendation plans for downtown stormwater drainage structures. Asked that be removed. This portal has been closed and removed from access at the current time. We'll see what Washington does in the future, but if you would entertain a motion to amend the agenda by removing that item.
I so move.
Okay, so are we removing both items, 6?
Just number 9.
Just number 9? Okay, we got a motion to remove item 9, seconded by Director Trustee. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Director Beard, you had a question, you had your hand up.
Yes, I was going to ask to table an item under new business. Do I wait till we get there, or do I do it now?
Well,
if you want
tabling would be,
yeah, if you want to table it, you'd wait until the item. If you wanted it removed, we needed to do that now.
Okay, I just want
Okay.
to.
okay, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second. Director Trustee, seconded by Director Webb. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Agenda is, as amended, is approved. At this time, we'll consider the approval of the minutes of the regularly held meeting of February 4th, 2025. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to the minutes as presented? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Minutes are adopted. Recognition of guests. You're all our guests. I know we got a smaller group today. Directors have any guests? Hearing none, we'll move on to the city manager's report. And Mr. Bill Burrow on the state of the city.
Thank you, Mayor. As you know, each year it's incumbent upon me to present a state of the city, and doing so, I'd like to do that as my report tonight. Mayor, members of the board, and fellow citizens, it is my privilege to deliver the state of the city address reflecting on the remarkable journey of 2024, where crime is down and revenue is up. Winston Churchill proclaimed, "We shape our cities and then our cities shape us." A little reminder that we must all work together to build a city to be proud of. Before I move on, I want to express my gratitude to the mayor and the city directors for providing the support and the commitment to help shape this city. This year brought tremendous progress and challenges. On April 8th, Hot Springs welcomed thousands of visitors for once-in-a-lifetime solar eclipse, proving once again our ability to host major events. Later, an EF2 tornado left a 12-mile path of destruction, impacting 243 homes and 6 businesses. Through swift efforts by city departments, Energy Arkansas, and volunteers, power was restored within a week, roads were cleared, essential services resumed, and the Hot Springs compost facility processed 36,000 cubic yards of green waste. From mid-May until late June, the debris was burned, leaving 1,339 tons of ash to be hauled by the solid waste department for disposal at our landfill. Thanks to our city workers, first responders, and volunteers, all city streets, utilities, power was restored in under a week, showcasing our community's resilience and strength. Last year, we established 7 major goals, and we are proud to report on the progress and achievements of each. Recognizing the need for an improved parking system, we initiated a comprehensive parking management plan, leading to the adoption of an integrated smart parking system. After extensive surveys and public engagement, we awarded an agreement with IPS to implement a system featuring mobile payments, multi-space kiosk, and license plate recognition. While this program is new for everyone, its implementation is underway and will enhance parking convenience for businesses and visitors alike, while also supporting an ongoing improvement of our parking facilities. Along with the new parking program, the board approved revised parking violation penalties and updated parking rate zones to ensure fair and efficient enforcement. These updates bring our downtown parking infrastructure in line with modern urban standards, enhancing accessibility and supporting continued growth. As part of the board's goal to address affordable housing, the 10-year affordable housing strategy has guided key implementation actions. Progress includes partnerships with the Hot Springs Housing Authority to expand housing options, zoning code updates to allow for modern manufactured homes and accessory dwelling units, commitment of surplus public land for affordable housing projects, exploration of initiatives such as tiny homes and mixed income developments. 2 city staff ad hoc committees are advancing housing and land bank initiatives. After evaluating land bank models, staff determined this approach is not cost effective for Hot Springs due to the reliance on one-time American Rescue Plan Act funds and ad valorem tax requirements which limit long-term viability. In August 2024, the city launched a Geographic Information System, or GIS mapping layer, for property liens, enhancing transparency ahead of the Arkansas Commissioner of State Lands auction. This initiative shows early promise to better develop underutilized properties. The city continues to secure grant funding to advance the board's housing strategy. In September 2024, Hot Springs was awarded a $750,000 Paul Bruin Historic Revitalization Grant to convert historical structures into affordable housing. In addition, a pro-housing grant application is currently under the Department of Housing and Urban Development review. If awarded, these funds will provide an opportunity to transition short-term rentals into long-term housing, supporting the 2023 housing strategy and Forward Hot Springs 2040 plan. City staff are also collaborating with state and national housing advocates to update the zoning codes, proposing a shift from the 1993 to 2021 for manufactured home placement, ensuring higher housing standards and improved safety. We are pleased to continue building a strong partnership with the Hot Springs Housing Authority. City staff provides expertise and assistance to them in many areas for further their mission to clean, safe, and affordable housing for our community. An upcoming Landlord Summit is another opportunity to connect landlords, realtors, and property owners with resources to learn more about the work that the Hot Spring Housing Authority and the U.S. Housing and Urban Development does on a daily basis. The event will be held in partnership with the Hot Springs Landlord Association, Hot Springs Housing Authority, and HUD in March 2025. Investing in our employees is investing in our future. In January 2024, we adjusted our employees' compensation. The coming completion of a new employee handbook and revised job descriptions underscores our commitments to workforce excellence. These updates provide clarity, structure, and pathways for professional growth, ensuring that our dedicated employees have the tools and resources they need to serve our community effectively. The Community Resource Center at 109 Hobson is progressing as a one-stop shop for assistance through local nonprofits, the Southwest Arkansas Partnership, and the Arkansas Balance of State members. The following improvements were completed on budget and on schedule. The HVAC system was replaced. Video surveillance system was installed. Perimeter fencing, elevator repairs. The fire line and fire suppression system was completed. The new ice machine, kennel shelter, and shade structure. Kitchen equipment, including a dishwasher, food warmer, sink assembly, and oven, have all been purchased. The phone and internet installation should be completed this month. We have hired a manager for the center that will start March the 4th. We are extremely proud to have the opportunity to collaborate with local nonprofits and social service organizations, ensuring that the residents in need have access to housing assistance, job placement programs, and emergency relief efforts. In 2024, the City of Hot Springs made significant progress on Code Forward. The city's new zoning and development code was adopted on November the 19th. This board priority since 2022 was developed with input from city staff, the Planning Commission, and the public. Set to take effect on March 1st of this year, the new code modernizes zoning, streamlines business approvals, and supports sustainable development. Key milestones in 2024 include on July 30th, a joint work session with the Board and Planning Commission, hosted by Karamos, reviewed proposed changes. In August, the near final draft and revised zoning map were released, followed by public meetings and map meetings to engage property owners. September through October, public hearings were held, leading to final refinements before adoption. At the end of 2024, preparations began for the March 2025 rollout, including a user manual and staff training to ensure smooth implementation. As we move into 2025, the city is focused on ensuring a seamless transition to Code Forward, setting the stage for efficient growth and development in Hot Springs. In 2024, progress continued toward the demolition of the former St. Joe Hospital, currently operated by the Arkansas School for Math, Science, and the Arts. The Phase 1 ESA was completed in September, with no recognized environmental conditions found. The city requested brownfield grant funds for an updated asbestos and lead paint survey which is required for the abatement planning. EPA approval was received for assessment work to proceed. Our next steps, the Phase 2 ESA will begin guiding the abatement process. Demolition must begin within 6 months of the ASMSA's departure and finish within 18 months of that date. The abatement demolition contractor procurement process will follow EPA-approved standards, ensuring environmental clearance. The city remains on track to move forward with demolition once the school fully vacates the property. Environmental sustainability remains a high priority. The Gulf Basin Pump Station is now over 35% complete, with final work expected to be complete September of this year. This initiative significantly reduces overflows and enhances environmental compliance, safeguarding our city's natural resources for future generations. Our 2024 accomplishments include our Phase 1 construction, which began on a new 22 million gallon a day peak wet weather pump station, increasing total capacity to 32 million gallons a day. A 30-inch diversion line has been completed, and the wet well structure is 80% complete. The generator has been installed and the electrical building masonry is about 20% complete. We have additional projects in various stations of completion as well. At our Davidson wastewater treatment plant, we have a $35 million upgrade at that location, which will expand biological and hydraulic capacity and improve wastewater treatment efficiency. This project is approximately 35% complete. 2 new pumps and key equipment has been procured for the Hot Springs Creek pump station. Installation should be complete by June of this year. Achievement of the aforementioned goals is the direct result of the hard work and determination of our dedicated employees and the forward-thinking policies of a pro-growth government. Our partners at Visit Hot Springs have also played a crucial role in promoting our city as a premier destination, and the investments in our hospitality industry, most notably Oaklawn Hot Springs, our world-class area hotels, and ongoing renovation of the historic Arlington Hotel are helping to shape an even brighter future for Hot Springs. Oaklawn Hot Springs continues to set a high bar when it comes to offering luxury services and accommodations to the nation's most discerning guests. Their world-class thoroughbred racing combined with the best in-class dining and accommodations make it a clear winner. Ford's Travel awarded their Straw Spa 4 stars, making it the only one in the state to achieve this designation. And who can forget the Bay Colt, Mystic Dan? This locally owned thoroughbred carried the spirit of Oaklawn Park and Hot Springs by picking up a Southwest Stakes win and the coveted Kentucky Derby crown. The success of Oaklawn is carried over to casino revenues paid to the city, which posted $5.2 million, an 8.5% increase over prior year. One of the clearest indicators of Hot Springs' economic strength is the city's sales tax revenue. I'm proud to report that Hot Springs has experienced year-over-year sales tax growth for the past decade. Since becoming city manager in December 2018, we have averaged an impressive 6.5% annual growth in the sales tax receipts. In 2024, our city collected $29,148,000 in sales tax revenue, nearly 46% higher than what we had in 2018. These numbers are more than just figures on a page. They represent a thriving economy, increased consumer confidence, and a strong foundation for continued prosperity. Further demonstrating our city's success, the advertising and promotion tax collections have risen by 2.61% in 2024 compared to last year. This growth is a testament to the vibrant and diverse restaurant scene we have here in Hot Springs and continued expansion of our hotel portfolio. People from across the state and the country choose Hot Springs for conferences, sporting events, vacations, and weekend getaways drawn by our outstanding hospitality and the natural beauty of Lake Hamilton, Lake Catherine, Lake Ouachita, our national park, our scenic trails, and our epic mountain bike trails. These assets continue to make Hot Springs one of the most unique and attractive destinations in America. Economic growth is not just about numbers, it's about investment in our community. Thanks to our expanding economy, we have been able to make significant improvements to the city's infrastructure. From repaving nearly 23 miles of city streets to strengthening our water and wastewater systems, we are building a city prepared for long-term sustainable growth. In 2024, we received 719 applications for residential and commercial construction permits, generating over $375,000 in revenue for the city. These permits represent more than $111 million in investments by property owners across Hot Springs. This substantial commitment underscores a profound belief in the potential and prosperity of the city. This past year marked the 10th anniversary of the blaze that destroyed much of the Majestic Hotel and ultimately led to its demolition. The community's response following this event resulted in a renewed commitment to protecting and restoring our historic downtown. In 2024 alone, 15 businesses opened their doors and 13 commercial properties rang up sales of almost $9 million. Since the Majestic Hotel fire in 2014, an impressive 237 new businesses opened and 177 property sales that all contributed to over $200 million in capital investment. I am pleased to share a reserve general fund balance of $10.6 million, well exceeding the board's adopted fiscal policy of 16.5% of the approved budget, along with an unreserved balance of $31.5 million. The city's levy on alcohol and mixed drinks showed a $200,000 increase over prior year. All revenues are performing above prior year, building a strong revenue base for the coming year. Our employee wellness fund is in a strong position with year-end fund balances of almost $11 million. The decade-old decision to transition to a self-funded insurance program has provided outstanding employee coverage with more manageable expenses. For the 30th time, our finance team was awarded the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting by the Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada. This is for the city's annual comprehensive financial report for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2022. The Certificate of Achievement is the highest form of recognition in government accounting and financial reporting. And for the 7th consecutive year, they received the GFOA's Distinguished Budget Presentation Award for 2024. Hot Springs is fiscally strong, and I appreciate the efforts of our finance team to ensure that our budget and expenses are handled proficiently and professionally. Their work ensures that our city department and our first responders have the resources they need to support our community. The Hot Springs Police Department's unwavering commitment to public safety and crime reduction has made significant impact on our community. Key achievements in 2024 include a 14.77% decrease in property crimes, 1.3% decrease in violent crimes, and a 31.1% drop in shots fired called, aided by ShotSpotter technology and targeted enforcement. Collaboration with federal agencies such as the Drug Enforcement Agency, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, the Secret Service, and Homeland Security has led to significant prosecutions, including 4 offenders receiving a combined 53-year federal sentence for drug and firearm offenses. Grant funding from programs like the Project Safe Neighborhood, Justice Assistance Grant, and Community-Oriented Policing Standards Grant have been vital in supporting law enforcement and efforts, including the Community Police Response Team, which balances crime prevention and community outreach. In 2024, the community demonstrated a strong commitment to animal welfare and collaboration. Animal Services responded to 2,582 calls, a 41% increase from the previous year, despite the increase in animal intakes, by partnerships with veterinary clinics and after-hour adoption events. Adoption numbers were boosted, and they've made significant relationships with other shelters throughout the United States. Future plans include a dedicated play yard for exercise and adoption events, as well as on-site surgical center to expand the spay and neuter program, promoting responsible pet ownership. These efforts highlight the community's compassion and dedication to improving animal welfare. The Hot Springs Fire Department. In 2024, the Hot Springs Fire Department demonstrated commitment, innovation, and teamwork in responding to over 3,100 calls, including 85 structural fires, preserving $55 million in property, and maintaining an average response time of 4 minutes and 36 seconds. Key achievements at our fire department: fire prevention efforts educated 1,800 participants through 40 programs. They investigated the cause and origin of 43 fires, which led to 2 arson convictions. Leadership restructuring introduced new roles, including assistant fire chief, 2 fire marshals, and training officers to support future growth, and launched the first in-house fire academy, enhancing training and certifications. Plans initiated for the new fire station, ambulance franchise agreement, and integration of the Cradle Point Wi-Fi and frontline vehicles is another huge accomplishment. They managed the response to the tornado that devastated several areas of our city. Earned Arkansas Business Trendsetter Award recognition for its cancer prevention initiative. Made history by promoting the city's first female captain, showcasing a commitment to excellence and inclusivity. Hot Springs Fire Department's efforts highlight an unwavering dedication to safety, innovation, and community service. There are many more accomplishments made in 2024 that will be an addendum to this report and will be posted online on the city's website. In conclusion, Hot Springs remains a city of progress and opportunity, driven by infrastructure investments, economic development, and commitment to public safety and sustainability. As we look ahead to 2025, we will continue to focus on enhancing quality of life, supporting business growth, and fostering a thriving, connected community. It has been an honor to serve as the city manager of this wonderful organization. The state of our city is strong, and the best is yet to come. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Any question of Bill from the directors regarding the report? Director Beard?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I was wondering about the Landlord Summit. Has that been, or which day in March is that scheduled for? Is that the 21st?
Let me look. You know what is it? The third Thursday of the month. We're still trying to get in touch with Mr. Marable. We've got several phone calls into him that he's not returned at this point. We are trying to get him scheduled for that meeting.
Oh. Well, do we know if he's still acting in that capacity?
We do not. We've tried to contact him.
At this time, we'll move on to Board of Directors announcements regarding upcoming events. Directors have any upcoming events? Director Webb?
Thank you, Mayor. I want to share with everybody this Thursday, February 27th at 5:30 p.m. You are cordially invited to the Garland Good Government Group meeting in the Garland County Library Auditorium. The confirmed speakers for this special event will be, oh, that's me. Gotta check my calendar. No, the confirmed speakers for this event will be myself, accompanied by Hot Springs Police Chief Billy Harverton and Garland County Sheriff Mike McCormick. These distinguished speakers will address crime in our city and county, including what actions are being taken to combat it. Director Webb will show where the most crimes are occurring and how programs he has initiated are working. Chief Harverton will outline the city's plan for reducing crime. Sheriff McCormick will describe how county crime is being addressed, and there will be opportunities for the audience to ask questions. This is also an opportunity for everyone to learn why the Garland Good Government Group is now the new Garland Good Government Group, and to meet with our city and county leaders. So please bring your friends and neighbors so we can have a good turnout for the fine people who are willing to serve the public. Again, this is for this Thursday, February 27th at 5:30 p.m. In the Garland County Library Auditorium. The next meeting in March will discuss how crimes are prosecuted and will feature the prosecuting attorney, a district court judge, and a civil court judge. Thank you, Mayor.
Very good. Any other announcements of upcoming? Director Beard?
Thank you, Mayor. This is from the Literacy Council of the Washitas. It is Read Between the Wines fundraiser, which is Friday, February 28th at 2025 at 5:30. I think it's p.m. It says a.m. on here, but it's probably p.m. Oh, sorry, made a mistake. Okay, it says join us February 27th at 6 p.m. for at the Chittum venue at Forest Lakes for Read Between the Wines, and in chanting evening, blending fine wine, captivating conversation, and remarkable stories of Arkansas women who shaped popular music. This year's featured author, Stephen Koch, will share insights from his book From Almeda to Zilphia, Arkansas, Women Who Transformed Popular Song. Don't miss this opportunity to explore the intersection of music, history, and culture while supporting adult literacy programs. Get your tickets now for an unforgettable night. And you can purchase tickets at givebutter.com. And that's all. Thank you.
Any other announcements of upcoming events? Well, I'll add a few. we always get caught on this, but for all the downtown merchants and businesses and those of us who are going to be traveling throughout the city during the month of March and parts of April, spring break is upon us. So the spring break dates, I always started them with Fridays. I know the Visit Hot Springs has them dated on Saturday, but we know they come into town on Friday. So March 7th through the 16th, Texas, Mississippi, and Tennessee. And I think the whole state of Texas will be here. March 14th through the 23rd, Missouri and Oklahoma. March 21st through the 30th, Arkansas. April 10th through the 14th, that's kind of a Thursday through a Sunday, is Louisiana. And then they also get another set of days. April 18th through the 27th is Louisiana. So I don't know if they got something going or they got a 4-day and then you get a rest and then you go back at it. I don't know. So be it as it may, it always catches us off guard, and I know the downtown merchants and others throughout the community are gearing up for a very wonderful and very, very busy spring break. I see downtown merchants now with new employees and getting prepared. And so come on downtown or go to your favorite restaurant, but know that you're probably going to have a line. So any other announcements? Hearing none, we'll move on. We'll at this time address the consent agenda. These are of a routine nature that do not merit individual discussion. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented. Director Garcia.
Second.
Seconded by Director Webb. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Consent agenda is adopted. First item under new business is Resolution R-25-40, and I ask the city attorney to read by title.
Resolution R-25-40, a resolution authorizing out-of-state travel to the National League of Cities Congressional City Conference for Director Phyllis Beard as required by Hot Springs Code 2-1-5 and for other purposes. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director Webb, second by Director Garcia. Any discussion? Well, I guess we don't have a report per se, but Director Beard, what are your thoughts on that? Obviously, you want to go to the meeting.
Yes, I wanted to go to the meeting because I serve on a federal advocacy committee, and that is the opportunity for local elected officials to work with people from the cabinet to see the role that we're going to play with under the new administration. And this has been going on since the beginning. I serve on the Community and Economic Development. I'm one of 2 people from the state of Arkansas, and there's, I think, maybe 100 or so people on the committee. So they will be meeting on the day before the pre-conference starts, and I've already I was able to secure the early bird rates for the conference. I did have trouble paying for that up front because there was a cancellation when from the city when I did try to pay for that, but I was able to hold on to the early bird rate for the registration. So yes, that's really all.
All right. Any questions of directors?
Mayor, I would point out, your packet did have 2 options in there. There was a report that Mr. Burr included in your packet. There's an option A and option B. I read the title. The title is the same for each. Option A does have a not to exceed amount of $2,460. Option B does not provide a dollar limit.
And then I also want to add, because of the, as mentioned before, when we come back from Washington, that it is time to book for the winter conference, and then same when we come back from the winter conference, it's time to book Because this is 2 weeks away, there is, housing is not the convention rate that it was in December. So I just want to mention that as well, that, so the amount that's 24, that's not, that will almost cover housing, but that does not cover transportation and registration that I've already secured.
It's awkward procedural situation here. I mean, one might argue that, that the motion was made on A, but if you didn't know that, then Mayor, maybe you need to ask if someone wants to make a motion for a particular option, A or B.
We can get down to 80, page 81, 84.
Yeah. Or a motion to amend, if that's the board's pleasure.
Option A was the, had a cap of 2460,
Yes, sir.
not to
24
exceed.
Mhm.
Is that the desire of the board? To have a cap? 2460? What, without the cap, what are you looking at?
It would,
You're looking at 4,000 or so?
it would, should be less, 4,000, yeah, would cover,
Pardon?
4,000 would cover.
You know, what's the desire of the board?
Ma-
Director Webb?
Thank you, Mayor. What is the amount that the board has in that particular account for board travel for 25, and would this trip come out of that account?
I think your out-of-state travel's budgeted at 20,000. However, there are some 2024 charges that will be assessed to 2025. We didn't get the information in from the previous travel in time to get it in 2024. So, you know, I'm trying to think what that may be, another $3,000 or $4,000 probably coming out of 2025 from the prior travel. So you're looking at somewhere around 16, 17,000.
You know, some of our out-of-state travel is pretty significant, and it's all, and it's not spread across the entire board. So I have a concern with that.
Well, were you interested in going?
Well, whether we're interested in going or not, that's not always the point. I think we had a director made a comment last agenda meeting, or, you know, would you do better in your job if you went? Well, we could actually justify that almost every week to go somewhere and say I would perform better, but does the budget provide for that? And you know, we haven't really had our work session on the travel. Is that
Right,
correct?
it was canceled 2 times
Yeah.
since we got back from,
And then, and as such, you know, we didn't get into, you know, how we allocate the dollars amongst directors, or whether we should, you know, we have individuals that will want to serve on a committee, and that's great if you want to do that at the national level, but maybe that's not something that we ought to pay for. I mean, those are points of discussion that we have to have.
right. They do have a conference for this committee that I served on, and they did for the last committee that I served on, and the city did not pay for that. I actually paid for that out of my own pocket. You know, we have to consider, you know, as directors, we're actually not paid to do this job. We are not. So do we want to ask directors to go into their own pockets to go get resources to better serve their constituents? I just don't think that's right. I mean, I don't mind paying, but can we get compensated for even just sitting here? It's you know, I go and look at what I've accomplished sitting here as a director with all this stuff that happened at Greenbrier. I've made multiple emails and phone calls to city leaders or people at this table, or the head of the table, I wasn't getting anywhere. I said that I needed to go to Washington and bring in, because that was the response I got. This was federal. This was a federal issue. So I went there, and fortunately, we're still working on the issue from last year. We were waiting for a landlord summit last year, and we still have not had that. We don't know, or personally, I don't know if we're going to get a landlord summit with how things are, with all the cuts and everything. But somebody needs to go and find out what's happening in Washington. And it doesn't have to be me, but there's 6 other people at the table that also have the opportunity, because as directors, you have that in a budget. And so I don't have to go, but someone else needs to go if it's not me. And then we have to ask ourselves also, if it's me that goes, do we charge Director Beard for going to advocate for her constituents, or do we charge her to go to advocate for her constituents? Because I just don't think it needs to be one or the other. I think if we're going to sit here, then we should be compensated. Maybe we could put that on the ballot. I don't know what happened to that last year. Or we just pay. I mean, we have enough money to do that.
Director Garcia?
I know from personal experience that Washington, D.C. is one of the more expensive areas to travel to. So the amount that was mentioned by Director Beard is not unreasonable based on the time of that. With the change in administration, I would really like to see connection with particularly with the Department of Interior, because of the national park here and the activities that we have going on there, and possibly with the HUD. And there is only one director that's asked to go. So I advocate to have a representative there and to make those connections, and I would like to invite them to come to Hot Springs, someone from those departments.
Director Dobbs-Smith?
How much was our travel budget when it was in the fairly recent past that quite a few of the directors went to Washington? I don't know why they went then, and the city manager went, and other city personnel went. Why did it stop? Was it considered that it wasn't valuable? Was it too much money? But we used to send quite a few people there. Do you know?
I would just comment, when I joined the board, as I mentioned earlier, the reserves had been depleted, and at that time there would often be 4 or 5 attending, and it just wasn't in the budget because the reserve had been used to balance the budget for a number of years, and without replenishing that, there was not money to balance the budget to continue funding everything. And that was a decision that came the first year I was on the board, and we didn't send anyone for the next several years until we built our reserve back up and our revenues, where we could add more trainings, not just board, but it impacted management and staff, and everyone needed the training, and that was able to be added back. That was my perspective.
There was an occasion that a number of business people within the community, myself, and I think Bill, went and we met with Senator Bozeman. We were knee deep in the water on the Lake Washita, Lake DeGray, and Senator Bozeman was very, very instrumental in aiding us. Congressman Westerman was, other matters with regards to Senator Cotton, and so we went and had face-to-face. We didn't have face-to-face with Senator Cotton, but we did have with Senator Bozeman, and we did have with Congressman Westerman and his personnel who are responsible. So there was certainly a direct benefit there, but beyond that, I personally haven't gone to anything other than just the AML meetings, here in the state.
I know that I attended on at least twice, maybe 3 times with my own money, and I got a lot out of it, but it wasn't as an elected official. It was as a community advocate and a private person.
Any other, Director Holliday?
Thanks. Yeah, I 100% agree with what everyone's saying as far as our opportunity to learn and do better. I don't think any of us went to school to be municipal officials. Not that that's necessarily even an option. And things like AML and National League of Cities and other opportunities, I think are incredibly invaluable. And I think we do need to do them. And I also believe that having a consistent presence with our federal elected officials, not just our state elected officials, is important. The challenge I have here, and I had last time that travel kind of like walked on at the last minute, is more, and I don't know if this falls to staff or just my own not digging into it in advance, but these do come on a regular basis, and we're not having the conversation whether or not we have a work session. The moment these open, typically the National League of Cities that travels around, we don't necessarily hear about DC as early. It is my understanding, I think this is a little bit of what Director Dobbs-Smith was kind of asking about and that the mayor alluded to, but my understanding was when we invest in the DC trip, it's typically because there is a something. There's a very specific something that we're going to do, and it's something historically I think that the board has agreed that it had to do with a goal or an initiative here, and so you go with a task and you go with a plan on behalf of the whole board, and we're just not. I don't know what the process was before I got here, but we've not had that opportunity. That's, like I said, not even the work session about the process. We just haven't talked about why we would go. And then furthermore, it comes up, I appreciate that Director Beard is diligent in knowing when these happen and is ready. This is less of a surprise this time, but was a surprise in the past as well. That was like, oh, I quite frankly didn't realize it was on the table as an option. I do think the fact that, until we have our work session and it specifically says that, whenever possible, things need to rotate. I understand not everybody has the same flexibility in their world. They have other obligations, but, I had this conversation in the past and I'll have it again. It's not about the merit of the going or the merit of the person going. It is about the fact that we haven't made the plan, and I think it's irresponsible to expend more funds without having a plan. We've had an opportunity to make a plan for a very long time, so I'm not going to vote for this, and it's about the fact that we need to make a plan. Director Webb asked how much money we have left, about $16,000. This would be another 4 of it, which puts us in a position to where there may be other opportunities later in the year that, we'll have to have a budget adjustment just to access. And I think that that's irresponsible. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on it. I do think, I believe that work session is scheduled for our next agenda meeting.
Well, it was gonna be the 11th, but Director Beard will not be here. She'll be in Washington, so we're gonna have to move that to the 25th.
Okay.
So
But
another
yeah, I
move
mean,
on that one. I think all the directors need to be here when we talk about that and give staff
Oh,
good
absolutely.
direction on where we're going. I will say that you also have your reserve, that I put in the budget every year. We can transfer funds from there without budget amendments. Going back in time, we did always have kind of a specific reason. One year we were going primarily to meet with the director of the National Endowment of the Arts. Several trips working on water that took, as you know, a long time to get that through. For us, I stopped going to NLC because I typically go to ICMA or City Managers Conference. used to always escort, I'll say escort, but, I would always attend any of the NLCs if we had board members going. And a lot of that was just to provide support and also take part in the meetings, whomever we were going to meet with and what the agenda was. We used to have fly-ins through the chamber that board members would elect to go on. So, a lot of things have come and gone, as Director Garcia mentioned. As things started getting tighter, we kind of backed away from it. Now we're in a better position. But one thing that I think is important for staff, and it really surfaced this past year, is we've got 5 business days to get your receipts in when you get back. We need to do that so we can kind of close that out. National League of Cities does, they do come, and you've got to get in there 2 or 3 months before it happens. As soon as they open up, you want to be getting rooms because they're gonna get taken up if you want that rate. For staff, when we're trying to put this together to bring you, we typically look at the conference. If the conference is 3 days, we look at 3 days. But if there's other meetings and committees that you belong to, that could be a 6-day event. We don't know. We need you to help us there whenever you bring those in. I think at one time, if you were going to be on a national committee, the board kind of approved you to be on that committee, and I don't know that that's happening anymore. Those are just things that I recall from the last many years. But we do have the ability to move some funds if we need to, if we needed to go to another conference.
Director Garcia?
Thank you, Mayor. I was just going to add comments that at our budget meeting this last session, the city manager did ask if anyone wanted to attend this meeting at that last session over at the fire department. So I thought everyone was aware of it. And I during my terms on the board, I've attended one of the sessions in DC, and my focus and still have a focus there that has been on the Army Navy Hospital, and had meetings and made contacts that I still had communications with. But now there's new people in those roles, so I think it's good to maintain that. But Congressman Westerman's staff has been very instrumental, and it's good to keep with not just staff here, but his staff is doing a great job in DC along those lines. So, and also with at the National League of Cities was the housing and the homeless issues. Those have been my focuses in bringing back information and the contacts and resources to help us there that's been shared with our committee at the chamber, as well as others that are advocating on our behalf as well from the community. So I never go to anyone with any training without having goals and plans in place.
Director Webb?
Thank you, Mayor. So, like we stated earlier, if the pot were full right now for out-of-state travel, we would sit at about $20,000. There are some expenses that are being carried over to this year because there wasn't enough time to make those adjustments for '24. And with that being said, that takes us to 16. If we were to average that out amongst 7, 6 directors plus the mayor, we're looking at anywhere between $2,200 and $2,400 apiece on average per director/mayor. And so, I mean, if money is the issue here, I have no problem giving my 7th, $2,200 to $2,400 to Director Beard to add to hers to make this trip possible, and we could present that as an amendment if we'd like to. I know we don't have a plan right now, and I look forward to the work session coming up over out-of-state travel to make a formal plan, because I really think, like Director Holliday was saying, that's something that we've got to do moving forward, where we've got somewhat of a rubric or an unbiased approach for how we conduct out-of-state travel. But in the meantime, if money is the issue, give my 7th to Director Beard.
Well, again, there's no process in place today that allocates by elected official. So you got option A and you got option B, and then we'll vote. Director Trustee.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll just make a motion that we approve resolution number R2540, option B, and ask Director Beard to attend on our behalf at the National League of Cities Congressional City Conference in Washington, D.C.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? So there is no cap. Option B is without cap. Director, or excuse me, Mr. City Manager?
Do we need to do anything on the dates? Are those dates accurate, Director Beard?
The dates are, let me see. It is the 7th through, just a second. I didn't see which dates you have on here. So it is this.
The conference is March 10th through the
10th through the
12th.
12th is what this
That's
shows.
the conference.
It is the 7th through the 12th, the 7th through the 12th.
So how many nights of lodging is that?
Well, from the 7th, 6 nights of lodging.
Any questions or discussion? Please call the roll.
Director Holliday.
No.
Beard.
Aye.
Dobbs Smith.
Aye.
Webb.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Trustee.
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
No. Resolution is adopted. This time we'll consider ordinance O-25-08. This time I'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules and read by title only.
So moved.
Director Trustee.
Second.
Second, Director Webb. All in favor of the motion to suspend the rules and read by title only, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Please read by title.
Mayor, this is ordinance O-25-08, an ordinance waiving competitive bidding pursuant to Arkansas Code annotated section 14-47-138 and approving a purchase of 2 F-250 utility trucks from Smart Ford pursuant to the State of Arkansas Cooperative Purchasing Program. That concludes your reading. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director
Second.
Trustee, seconded by, I'll give it to Director Webb. And our staff report will be provided by Ron Seavright, Public Works Director. Welcome.
Good evening. So this is a two-part request. The 2 trucks that we have found are located at Smart Ford. The trucks themselves are on state contract. The cost for the 2 trucks are $43,772.32 apiece. The second part of this is waiving competitive bidding for the accessories that are already on the vehicles. They will be coming complete with utility beds, Tommy lifts, and they will be rhino lined. The reason for the request is State of Arkansas contract only allows for $600 limit in accessories. So these, although they are equipped, we will have to waive competitive bidding on the accessory part. These vehicles will be replacing units 8262, a 2002 Ford F-150 with 83,502 miles, and 8811, a 2006 Chevrolet Silverado with 178,133 miles, and both of these are experiencing a lot of downtime.
Any questions of Ron? Director Trustee?
Thank you, Mayor. Or maybe this is for Bill, I don't know. How is this different than what Greg talked about earlier?
Well, the trucks themselves were on the state contract, but
Uh-huh.
these particular units, the dealership brought them in already with the bed and the Tommy lifts on them.
Okay.
Those Tommy lifts aren't on the state contract, so for us to be able to purchase that, we needed to do a waiver of competitive bidding on just the accessories that are on the truck. The trucks themselves were on state contract, but the state law limits
Right.
up to $600, and these are about $30,000 worth of,
But these two trucks are not included in what
They are
Greg
not.
talked about earlier?
They're not.
Okay, so we're actually, what he presented, the 1,000,001 plus this 100 and...
that's correct.
Okay, thank
Any
you.
further questions of Ron? Thank you. Anybody sign up to speak?
No, sir.
Discussion amongst directors? Please call the roll.
Director Beard,
Aye.
Dobbs Smith,
Aye.
Webb,
Aye.
Garcia,
Aye.
Trustee,
Aye.
Holliday,
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. Ordinance is adopted. Moving on to consider ordinance O-25-09, and I'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules and read by title only. I got a motion by Director Webb, seconded by Director Garcia. I have a motion and a second to suspend the rules and read by title only. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Council, please read by title.
Ordinance O-25-09, an ordinance amending ordinance number 6513, Exhibit B, the official zoning map. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would entertain a motion second to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director Webb, Director Trustee, and Miss Kathy Selman, Planning and Development Director, will provide the staff report. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening. According to the Garland County Tax Assessor's Office data, the City of Hot Springs has 23,279 parcels as of January 21st, 2025. A new zoning map was a component of Code Forward, the city's new zoning code. Camiros, our Code Forward project consultants, along with city staff from planning and information systems, spent hours analyzing parcels on the city's zoning map and the future land use plan maps, comparing city parcels against ordinances, evaluating historic land development patterns, and existing uses. Two major goals of the remapping were to minimize nonconformities and to resolve situations where one lot has more than one zone district designation. Ultimately, a new zoning map was presented to and approved by Planning Commission and the Board of Directors. The City of Hot Springs Board of Directors passed Ordinance 6513 on November 19th, and that adopted a new zoning code and a new zoning map. The ordinance references zoning code document as Exhibit A and the zoning map itself as Exhibit B. After adoption, 9 city parcels of the 23,279 depicted on the adopted official zoning map were discovered to be inconsistent with intended zoning designations. 5 of them involve how certain historically split zoned, and that's when there's more than one zone district on one lot or parcel, is depicted. 2 involve parcels depicted as being unzoned, that is, the map showed no zoning whatsoever. And 2 involve parcels simply being incorrectly designated. Details regarding the parcels involved, along with staff review notes and zoning map amendment recommendations, are illustrated on table number 1. After adoption, 3 property change applications were approved by the Board of Directors as they approved ordinances 6514, 6517, and 6522. And these 3 zoning changes are not reflected on the official adopted zoning map because they happened after the map itself was adopted. The 3 changes in those ordinances, along with the corresponding Code Forward zone district conversions, also need to be illustrated on our official map. The finding is that a need exists to correct 9 city parcels designated on the adopted ordinance 6513 Exhibit B official zoning map, as well as to reflect the 3 zone changes approved after November 19, 2025 on the official zoning map. This ordinance 6513 becomes effective on March 1st, 2025. On February 13, 2025, Planning Commission held a duly advertised meeting, called for testimony, and considered the record, voting 9-0 to recommend that the Board of Directors adopt an ordinance amending ordinance number 6513, a revised Exhibit B official zoning map to replace the previous Exhibit B approved by ordinance 6513. Planning Commission spent a ton of time working on this ordinance. We certainly hope to bring you a perfect map. We did the math by like 0.0004. We almost got there. So we're asking for your help in correcting that map so that we do have a perfect map representing our official zoning. Thank you.
Any questions of Ms. Selman? Director Garcia?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, ma'am. I understand on the 3 changes in zoning, and typically when we have changes like that approved, then it updates the map.
Yes.
On the previous 9 inconsistencies, I was having trouble understanding which on this map, which ones they are and what they are, the inconsistencies and what the change was. Is there some summary that would explain this? I'm still confused on those 9.
I can provide those to you. I do not have them with me. Those are zone districts, and you may remember probably a year, 2 years ago, we had a request to change some zoning on the corner of Weston Road and
Yes.
Airport Road.
Yes.
Based on the map that was adopted in 2003, we were unaware that that zone change had already occurred. So this is, and that was a split zone piece of land. The front of it was commercial, the back of it was residential. Those 5 are very similar, if not identical in nature.
Okay,
to
I understand
that.
that.
I can't, I do apologize, I don't know what parcels those are. I didn't bring that with me. But that is the type of situation that we had on those 5.
And so this is more or less a cleanup of,
This is a cleanup.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for the question.
Director Webb?
I think a lot of what I was going to ask Director Garcia did, but Ms. Kathy, this, just to clarify again, this was saying out of the 24,000 or so parcels that are in question here, there were 9 that came back as being incorrect. After you were made aware of this, you took time to make those corrections, and that's what we're seeing in Exhibit B.
Yes.
Right? And I think Director Garcia question was, this is Exhibit B's map that was provided to us. Exhibit A's map, would that have shown where the 9 were as it relates to what's, because Exhibit B has everything corrected.
Yes.
So Exhibit A or map number 1 would show what isn't corrected, and then we could find those corrections in B.
The
Right.
Exhibit B that came to you in November with ordinance 6513, and that's Exhibit B from November, is the
That was
map
A.
that is inconsistent.
Right, okay.
Exhibit A is the text that is our zoning code. The zoning, as you remember, is 2 different things, the text and then the map. So this is a change simply to the map to bring that up to what was intended. Planning Commission had a spreadsheet. I believe that spreadsheet went to you also in November. The map that went to you in November did not correctly represent all of the suggested changes in the spreadsheet. So these aren't changes that are changes, they're changes to the map to reflect the spreadsheet.
Right, okay. Yes, thank you.
Any additional questions? Thank you.
Okay,
Anybody sign
thank
up
you.
to speak?
No, sir.
Discussion amongst directors? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Director Dobbs-Smith,
Aye.
Webb,
Aye.
Garcia,
Aye.
Trustee,
Aye.
Holliday,
Aye.
Beard,
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. Ordinance is adopted. Now we'll consider ordinance O-25-10, and I'll entertain a motion and a second to suspend the rules and read by title. Director Garcia?
Second.
Director Trustee? Do I get a, Director
Yeah.
Dobbs-Smith? We'll move over here. All in favor of the motion and a second to suspend the rules and read by title only, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Council, please read by title.
Ordinance O-25-10, an ordinance to provide access to health benefits for retired municipal employees, repealing ordinance number 5756, and for other purposes. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would, entertain a motion second to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director Dobbs-Smith, seconded by Director Webb.
Second.
Director Webb. Thank you. And the staff report. Who's providing that today?
I'll do that for you,
Okay,
Mayor.
thank you, Brian.
Mayor, up till now, the city of Hot Springs has been operating under the state law regarding access to continuation and health care benefits, or health care plan, I should say, for retired municipal workers. Arkansas Code annotated section 24-12-129 simply provided that if an employee was over 55 or over and had completed 20 years of service, they could continue to participate in the retirement plan, in the healthcare plan after retirement, provided that they paid both sides of that premium. 24-12-130 goes on to say that doesn't limit a municipality from having an age under 55 or years of service under 20, again, provided that they are receiving benefits through their retirement. 24-12-137, I don't know why 129 still exists after 132 came along, but in any event, it's still there. It has the same requirements that they're receiving retirement benefits. They pay both sides of the premium, but it added and not covered by any other health care plan during their retirement, and that they notify the employer within 30 days of their intention to do so. 132B goes on to add that an employee can also, or a retired employee can also add his or her dependents to the health care plan, again, as long as they pay both sides of the premium. 132 goes on to say that a municipality shall, by policy or ordinance, establish the criteria for eligibility of such a retiree. So the City of Hot Springs has had ordinance number 5756 that was put into place in 2010. And it established the criteria as being 55 or older and having completed 20 years of service. There could be some misinterpretation of that, and so we're asking that we modify what the city's policy is by repealing 5756 and replacing it with this ordinance, which should be more consistent with 24-12-132. And it essentially will require that that in order to maintain coverage under the insurance, under the health care plan of the city, they have to be receiving retirement benefits from lot fee or from APRS by virtue of their retirement from the city. They pay both sides of the contributions to the health care plan at the active employer rate. Is not covered at any time thereafter by any other health care plan, and notifies the city within 30 days of their intention, within 30 days of their retirement, of their intention to continue their participation. They can also add dependent coverage under their healthcare policy, again, as long as all of those other criteria are met, and neither the retired employee or the dependent is covered by another healthcare plan.
Any questions of Brian? Director Garcia?
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to confirm that my understanding is correct. This is to ensure it's in compliance with the state law.
It is. We are providing a little bit more than what state law actually requires, but it does comport more with the wording of the statutes that have, again, I don't know why 129 is still in place after 132, but it is.
Thank you.
Director Trustee?
Thank you, Mayor. Brian, dependents can be added even if they haven't been covered
Yes.
during the time that the insurance was in effect?
Yes, but that has to happen within the first 30 days of retirement.
Okay.
And they have to stay, they can't be covered by some other healthcare plan. I will add that Medicare is a healthcare plan. And so whether it's the employee or the dependent, if it's a spouse, once they are eligible for Medicare, they're no longer eligible to participate in our plan.
Okay. Thank you.
Any additional questions?
The reason it was so, we were concerned about it being confusing is there are conceivable situations where someone's under 55, obviously, and also served less than 20 years. You could have a disability retirement, for example, particularly through lot fee. So they have to be receiving retirement benefits from one of those plans. So that means they've met those requirements. That's the threshold.
So there is a disability component of both of those plans?
Yes.
Okay. I wasn't aware of that. All right.
Any additional questions from directors? Hearing none, anybody sign up to
No,
speak?
sir.
Discussion amongst directors? Please call the roll.
Director Webb?
Aye.
Garcia?
Aye.
Trustee?
Aye.
Holliday?
Aye.
Beard?
Aye.
Dobbs Smith?
Aye.
Mayor McCabe?
Aye. Ordinance is adopted. Moving on to consider ordinance O-25-11. I'll entertain a motion and a second to suspend the rules and read by title only.
So moved.
Who made that motion? Director Holliday, seconded by
Second.
Director Dobbs Smith. I have a motion and a second to suspend the rules and read by title only. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Please read by title.
Ordinance O-25-11, an ordinance authorizing an agreement with U.S. Bancorp Government Leasing and Finance, Inc. to provide short-term financing under Amendment 78 of the Arkansas Constitution for certain 2025 capital acquisitions, declaring an emergency and for other purposes. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would entertain a motion and second to adopt.
Motion to adopt. Director Garcia, seconded by Director Webb. And a staff report will be provided by Ms. Karen Scott, Finance Director. Welcome.
Thank you. The city seeks to obtain financing for capital items approved in the 2025 budget in the total amount of $2,048,646. This includes $1,100,646 for vehicles, $608,000 for specialized equipment, and $340,000 for heavy equipment. During the 2025 budget process, these items were identified as being financed by borrowing funds rather than using current operating funds. There is a list of those requests in your packet. A request for financing proposal was issued in January, and responses were received by 3 responsive bidders. The bids were evaluated, and U.S. Bancorp Government Leasing and Finance, Inc. has provided the most favorable proposal at 6 basis points below the 5-year Treasury at the time of the loan. The 5-year Treasury was 4.31% on February 2nd, 2025, so the rate would be 4.25%. For purposes of comparison, the rates on the 2023 and 2024 financing were 4.31% and 4.38% respectively. It would be in the city's best interest to declare this as an emergency so that funding could take place immediately in order to take advantage of the lender's offer to lock in the rate at 4.25%. The list of items to be financed, as well as the proposal submitted by U.S. Bancorp Government Leasing and Finance, also is in your packet. The financial impact is as follows. The 2025 debt service projection related to this new debt used a rate of 6%. So this lower rate is favorable to the 2025 budget. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions of Ms. Scott? Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody sign up to speak?
No, sir.
Any discussion amongst directors? We'll have an emergency clause after this, so, but please call the roll.
Director Garcia.
Aye.
Director Trustee, I believe, has left the building. Director Holliday.
Aye.
Beard.
Aye.
Dobbs Smith.
Aye.
Webb.
Aye.
Mayor McKay.
Aye. Ordinance is adopted. We have an emergency clause.
Mayor, as you mentioned, it is at Section 6, I'll read it in its entirety, Section 6, Emergency Clause. The Board of Directors hereby determines that the initiation of procurement and acquisition of the equipment here and above set forth are essential to the public health and safety and welfare of the citizens of the city and must be financed as quickly as possible. An emergency is therefore declared to exist, and this ordinance shall be in full force and effect from and after the date of its execution. That concludes a reading of the emergency clause. If you would entertain a motion second to adopt.
Motion to adopt. Director Webb, seconded by Director Garcia. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Emergency clause is adopted. Now we'll consider ordinance O-25-12, and I'll entertain a motion, a second, to suspend the rules and read by title.
So moved.
Director Garcia, second by Director Webb. I have a motion, a second, to suspend the rules and read by title. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. Council, please read by title.
Ordinance O-25-12, an ordinance amending ordinance number 4002 and an ordinance number 4177 codified at Hot Springs Code 5-2-1.1 pertaining to the members of the Hot Springs Advertising and Promotion Commission and for other purposes. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would entertain a motion second to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Director Webb, seconded by Director Garcia. And again, Mr. Albright will provide the staff report.
Thank you, Mayor. Arkansas law provides for the structure and the creation of an A&P commission. 26-75-605 states that 4 of the members shall be owners or managers of businesses in the tourism industry, of which at least 3 of the members shall be owners or managers of hotel, motels, or restaurants, and serve for staggered terms of 4 years, and that 2 members be from the governing body of the municipality, selected by the governing body, who shall serve at the will of the governing body, and then finally 1 member from the public at large who will serve a 4-year term. Ordinance 4002 of 1989 created the Hot Springs Advertising and Promotion Commission pursuant to this state statute, setting forth its 7-member commission. Ordinance 4177 of 1991 amended Ordinance 4002 by adding the method by which vacancies in any of the 4 tourism industry positions and the 1 at-large position would be handled. Ordinance 4002 provides that 2 members of the commission shall be members of the governing body of the city and selected by the governing body, and in this respect it has not been amended. Ordinance 4002, Ordinance 4177 are codified in Hot Springs Code Section 5-2-1.1. During the discussions about another resolution, Resolution 10599, that was adopted February the 4th of 2005, Director Beard made a motion that board position 2 on the commission be reserved for the director, city director for District 2, or should the district boundaries be redrawn, and I took that to mean as a result of updated decennial census, then the city director of the district from which the land was acquired for the expansion of the convention center would serve. In order to take place, an amendment would be required of Ordinance 4002. The ordinance that's been presented to you this evening attempts to do that.
Any questions of Mr. Albright from the board? Director Holliday?
Thank you. Do we know for sure that the census block group does not split on that land?
Pardon me?
Well, it talks about, and this I think would be for Ms. Morrissey, is that you're talking about if the boundaries are redrawn as a result of the census, is it possible that these tracts of lands could then be in 2 districts, or is that census block?
It's very possible. It may
not be.
The census is based on population that's not occupied by residents.
Right, but it's also by block group, so I didn't know.
Well, the way the ordinance is written, the way I understand it, it will always be District 2 representative. Or, I mean, it'll be the representative from the geographic area that was there previous to the convention center being built.
Right, but I don't know exactly what those lots were, and if there is a possibility that then it would be split between two districts. And I don't know if this just sort of implies by default then it would remain in District
default.
2 if it was District 2 and 6 or 2 and 3 or 2 and 1 or whatever. But that, just because it's specific to the census lines, is it at all possible that the land we're referring to could in fact be in two different districts?
It could, but go.
If I could just, it could theoretically be possible, but it would not be very probable because of the makeup of the census blocks. The line is currently Convention Boulevard. And so if there is movement in the next census, the likelihood is that the movement would be all the way to Grand or past that. Because there are no residences here, that block or that set of blocks doesn't count for that many residents. So if those lines have to move, they're going to move much further.
Okay.
And most likely at least to Grand. So it is theoretically possible, just highly improbable.
Okay, and that was just my question, because I know we were going block by block when we were discussing it before, and so I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't the opportunity for sort of another problem in the future with this language.
Almost by definition, no, because the issue being the land from which was used for the commission, for the convention, and its parking is now not occupied by residents. So obviously, those wouldn't be counted.
Okay. Thank
All
you.
right, everybody clear? Very good. Any further questions of Mr. Albright? We do have some individuals that have signed up to speak, and I know I only had one, but the sheet would have been pulled before the majority of those entered the room. So, you know, we'll provide 3 minutes. Just remember, it's a 3-minute time frame, and if your comments have already been made, you can feel free to stand up and indicate that. But we'll begin as Ms. Cheryl Batts. Please come forward. She was here, was it?
She's here.
There we are. Please restate your name, address, and district, please.
Cheryl Batts, 125 Oak Street. I don't think that's District 2, but I do own property through Phoebe, the Usdory Project in District 2. So based on being here quite a while and listening to the exchange, some of my comments I will not make and some other people will have to make them. But what I wanted to say was that District 2 has always been special, and we have had special representation on the A&P Commission, and I highly respect that and highly respect the people that have had that position and that the city has, and the A&P Commission has allowed that for such a long period of time. My thing is that this year when everything is making the change, I would like to just kind of put it out there that as we are making this change, we do not know what's going to happen in the future. Can we begin to talk about the monies? That's always the elephant in the room. We can talk about representation. And when I spoke before, I said that, I believe I was correct, that in order to be on the A&P Commission, you have to have a hotel or a restaurant or an attraction. And District 2 has always had the Pleasant Street Historic District since I've been here. And when I look at the monies that is spent through heritage tourism, that has never come up in a conversation where people who can make decisions and make things happen, has not happened. So I want to say, can we, this time, whatever we do for District 2, since the convention center is sitting right on the place where the rooming house used to be, CSO was across the street, and there were other houses that had been gotten like a nickel on a dime. There has been no money put into District 2 to make the Pleasant Street Historic District look like the pristine place that we talk about in the A&P Commission about how beautiful Hot Springs is. Back in the 30s, they called us cosmopolitan because we walked down the street together. We did, black and white, we were together. This is 2024 and 2025, I'm sorry, and I believe we can do that again, but in a larger way. So whatever else anyone else has to say, I probably will agree with them, but let's really talk about the attraction of the Pleasant Street Historic District, the work that has been done on paper, and let's see if we can put some money to it so that it not only will be a pleasant stop for people that are interested in heritage tourism, but there's gotta be, y'all too smart up there for me to think we cannot come up with a way to also put money back into the community for affordable housing, so the houses are beautiful like they used to be. Thank you.
Thank you. We have others that did not have the opportunity to sign up that would like to come and speak on this ordinance. Please come forward and state your name, address, and district, please.
Hi, my name is Fannie Wallace, and I own property in District 2. Currently, I don't live there, but I own property. The reason why I came down is that I own property that I would like to develop, but not for housing. And when I had spoken about it previously, how can I get it, when I mean it, my property, so that more than just housing, as she spoke about a business, my property is on Gulfa, which is the Choctaw Division, Choctaw and Moore, which was one of the first settlements of Hot Springs. And my other question is, if you were to split the District 2, would that water down our vote of the people that live in District 2?
As far as your first item, I would direct you to contact Kathy Selman, and we on the
What's
use
the
of
name? I couldn't hear you.
Kathy Selman.
Selman.
In Planning and Development.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And she'll be able to help you on your residence or use of the residence.
Right. Because when I talk to my neighbors, people that have been there forever, and people are leaving, and the homeless have moved in, they've made encampments, we've called the police, they're breaking in the church, Cottrell Chapel, and it's just getting worse and worse. And when we report it to the police, it's just,
all right,
nothing's done.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
Others that would like to come and speak on this ordinance? O-25-12. Mr. Beard.
I'm a Beard, 202 Henry, Hot Springs, Arkansas. I had contacted by communication to direct the trustee, and I don't know whether the other directors knew what I had said to him, and I feel indebted to him to the extent that I made this statement commenting about the sentimentality and the seriousness and holy ground of the extension of the convention center. So I want to read, if I may have the extension of seconds to do so, what I had said to him, because I want all the directors to hear it. It says it's about geography and not demographics. We want a permanent position to honor an agreement that was made 30 years ago. We'll come before the governing body to make it official. In our community, there was a sacred ground because it was land that was once owned by residents related to what was known globally as Black Broadway. The district had more accommodation in the Green Book of Negro Travelers Guide than any other district in the state of Arkansas. And that's important, sisters and brothers. African American doctors, teachers, bar employees, and other professionals lived in this neighborhood. Many were first-time homeowners and descendants of slaves and slave masters. They were limited to where they could live because of racially restricted covenants and redlining. Laws limited where African Americans could play, swim, work, attend schools, and even go to church. Some of the residents may have been happy to sell at that time, but others were not. They never felt like they had a choice to stand up against the government pressure to sell. They were legally robbed of their self-preservation and sentiment values. To our community, this was holy ground. Therefore, you're in a position to make a decision tonight that I thank you for even in advance. As you know, I sat here many, many years ago and had decisions to make that wasn't always popular. However, whatever decision you make tonight, it will be appreciated by those of us who have been around long enough to know the history that I don't even have time to share at this point.
Thank you. Do we have others that would like to come forward and speak? Please come. State your name and address and district, please.
Good evening. My name is Tara Smith, 100 Wafer Circle, and I believe that is District 1. And thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak to you all today. I am not very familiar with what we are discussing right now, but from what I understand, there was a promise that was made to families in District 2, and I believe that that promise should be honored. I can say that I've seen the changes since the convention center. Will be 40 this year, and I've seen where the Web Center has changed. I used to go swimming in that Web Center pool. That's no longer available for our youth. I used to go to the Boys and Girls Club. I worked there at one point. That's not really a open community space for children in District 2. And I would like for you all to make the best decision for the city of Hot Springs and for those youth and the seniors and the disabled that are in that community. And I don't know how the money is delegated, but I would love for some of that money to go back into District 2 so that we can improve that. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to come forward? Lance. Please come forward and state your name, address, and district, please.
Ladante Walker, 130 White Street. This is my third meeting, so I had to write it down. I'm gonna try to use my time wisely. We're here today to talk about something crucial to the success of our A&P committee. It's representation. It's not just the buzzword, it's the cornerstone of effective communication. In today's market, one-size-fits-all approach simply doesn't work. We need to reach a wide range of consumers with varied backgrounds, experience, and perspectives. And to do that, our A&P committee must reflect that diversity. Why is this so important? Firstly, representation builds authenticity. When people see themselves reflected in our campaigns, they feel seen and valued. This fosters trust and connection, which is essential to building brand loyalty. And our campaigns, if our campaigns only resonate with a narrow segment of our audience, we're missing out on significant opportunities. Secondly, diverse perspectives lead to better ideas. A committee composed of individuals from different backgrounds bring a wealth of unique insights and experience to the table. This leads to more creative, innovative, and impactful campaigns. We avoid blind spots and unconscious bias that can alienate potential customers. Let's think about it. Someone with lived experience in a specific community can identify cultural nuisance that a homogeneous team might miss. A person with different socioeconomic backgrounds can offer insights into how to appeal to a wider range of consumers. Diverse age ranges can help us connect with varied demographic. Thoroughly representation ensures inclusivity. We have a responsibility to create advertising that is not only effective but also ethical. By including diverse voices, we can avoid perpetuating harmful stereotypes and ensure that our campaigns are respectful and inclusive. We aren't just selling products or a service, we're building relationships, and those relationships must be built on understanding and respect. In conclusion, having diverse representation on the A&P committee isn't just nice to have, it's a necessity. It's about building authentic connections, generating innovative ideas, and ensuring inclusivity. Let's commit to building a committee that truly reflects the diversity of our audience and empower us to reach our full potential. Thank you.
Thank you. Did we have anybody else that would like to come forward? Anybody else like to come forward? Well, thank you very much for joining us this evening. Discussion amongst directors. Director Garcia.
Thank you. Could I ask a question regarding in this where it mentions the of the 4 members shall be owners or managers of businesses in the tourism industry. Is the tourism industry defined anywhere in here?
Yes, and it includes attractions.
Okay,
So, I mean,
that's what, but
yeah. So-
are attractions defined?
Yes.
Director Webb.
Thank you, Mayor. I think the question I have surrounds the amendment itself. And just to clarify, like if we vote yes to this, we're saying that one of the 2 positions that the city has at the A&P table will belong to whichever district that the convention center is located in, correct?
No.
Sort of.
I need to be explained then.
The convention center and the other land that was acquired as a result of the construction of the convention center,
Okay.
which included some parking lots.
Now, and Director Beard is on that position now, and I think you were sharing with us, Brian, at a previous meeting that in the past 20-plus or so years, that position 2 was always held by District 2, correct?
Yes, sir.
What might need to happen, because as it states in this amendment here, this is for the most part saying that whoever is in District 2 City Director position has to serve on A&P Commission. What if by chance, not to say that chance may ever arise, because I don't anticipate Director Beard ever not wanting to be on A&P, hence why we're having this agenda item tonight, but let's just say there is someone further down the road who's a representative of that district and they don't want to be on A&P. What then happens? Would that fall back amongst the other board members? And if that's the case, should that type of language not be included in this amendment?
Well, I mean, I think it would be up to the board to appoint someone else if they declined.
Would that language not need to be included?
Not at this time, I don't think.
I just want to go back and readdress what our city clerk Harmony indicated. She said, that at the next census, the District 2 northernmost boundary is Grand. District 1 would have the convention center, but it would still, this A&P seat would still be District 2. Okay.
Not as written. Not as written.
It says whichever district it's in.
If the boundary is redrawn, then it shall be reserved for the city director for the district encompassing the area from which the land was acquired for the expansion of the convention center. So you're essentially talking about half a block south of Church, or going east or going north.
well, what I interpreted, I guess I'm not reading it properly then, that regardless of where the census boundaries are, the land was District 2 at the time,
Yes.
and the director of District 2 would always be allowed to serve on the A&P.
Historically, and the custom of the board has been that the director from District 2 always served on the commission because the property that is in question was still in District 2. As the census lines have changed, as a result of population changes, as a result of our requirement to meet the federal order that was issued as a result of a lawsuit brought by Aaron Gordon to require us to have a minority-majority district. So that was not easy in 2020 to try to accomplish, to make sure that we still had the requisite number percentage-wise for District 2 to remain at that status. That may influence again in 2030 where that line goes. And as Harmony mentioned, because of the numbers we're talking about, if it moves, it will move quite a bit. And so the property, I mean, I've got the 19 ordinances that were passed purchasing the property along the way. As far south as that, I mean, you're talking about essentially a half a block of south of Church. Essentially where the pool and part of the property of the Webb Center is north.
Director Garcia?
Since I've been on the board, in my district has had 3 different boundary settings because of census changes. And my experience with the election commissioners, when they were doing this, and they called each director in to meet with them regarding their boundary setting. And at that time, they would draw the boundaries for District 2 first, and with the purpose of getting the majority district first, and they were including that land wherever it ended up going, because part of residents I had in District 5 to begin with went to District 2. Right. And then I've had some go to 6 and 2. But they drew it first, and it always included that, and that's why it has it's not just a square where some fit into a square to meet that requirement. And that was some of the information that they shared, and to keep neighborhoods. But as there are if there are fewer residents around that, then they started there and added in going the directions that they went to meet the majority minority. And they said in the future that may become even harder, and there were other options to consider in the future, and one of them was even adding districts to maintain, because if they're not concentrated in one area to draw the boundaries, it may require additional districts. Oh. That was what, when they were drawing it, that's what was shared with us.
All right, Director. Anybody else have comments? Director Holliday?
Thank you. One thing kind of moving forward to keep in mind, it's my understanding that the Election Commission is drawing the boundaries next time, correct? So, we may recall in 2020, really close by here, a couple of the maps really dug into what is sort of like the heart of the District 2 neighborhood here, just because of these numbers. And I think we all hope that our neighborhoods can stay together. I know Director Dobbs-Smith and I were languishing over Quapaw Prospect, and Director Jones and I advocated very much for not moving the District 1, District 2 line south of Spring to make sure that that density in that neighborhood stayed with 2, because the residents in those homes very much felt that they were part of District 2 and wanted to remain there. And so so I think that the component of this that says wherever the land resides, I think is definitely more correct, as opposed to just saying District 2, because the number is really just a placeholder at the end of the day. I do believe that the foundation of this amendment is 100% on point and correct. I was not in this position. Really, none of us, other than perhaps Mr. Beard, were really a part of those conversations that long ago. But I agree with that promise. However, my fear is the unintended consequences. Even in this last election, for the District 2 seat, the second place candidate doesn't reside in this area. He resided on the far edges of District 2, and I can't speak for how much he would advocate or not advocate for this neighborhood. However, if the intent is to have somebody from the neighborhood, this doesn't necessarily do that. Similarly to Mr. Walker's comments about diversity, there isn't a guarantee, even with this, if District 2 remains a majority-minority district, that the person representing that district would necessarily fall into any unique category of diversity. And so I think these things need to find a home in this conversation, whether that's actually at the A&P Commission or in another way. But my fear is that by putting this in here, there could be unintended consequences. Not only could there be someone who's unable or unwilling to serve, the way that Director Webb mentioned, and I also wouldn't want it to discourage someone from seeking to serve because they didn't feel that they could participate in that way. So I think we need to figure out how to do this. I just don't know if this is the process to do that, because I agree that that if there is a way that we can use A&P funds, it's very specific as to how advertising and promotion funds can be used. However, it doesn't mean that we can't be more creative moving forward to see how, aside from your basic marketing and events, how else can we support our community, support our quality of life, because all of those things support what is Hot Springs and encourage people to come here and make it desirable. So yeah, I think that something should be done. My fear is that, like I said, that whoever gets elected may not be the person that the community would like it to be by default. Someone else on the board may be a better advocate that wasn't necessarily the one elected.
Director Beard?
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to be clear that we have more than one majority district, and I don't want anyone to walk away thinking that this is going to be diversity at the table for A&P. This seat has been held by African American since most of the time since 1970. That does not mean that there is someone that will not be African American representing District 2, and I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at all. This could very well, you talk about second place candidate. Let's go back to 96 and the promise that was made, and had the second place candidate come out on top, then he would be on the A&P Commission. That's just the promise. Whoever won that race was supposed to be on the A&P Commission. And if we don't like who that person is, then we have to deal with the consequences of that. I think I would have advocated for whoever won that race, that is going to be the position because they would have won District 2. So I think as a community, we need to be very active in our organizing and in our campaigns because this would be in writing, and I think something should be in writing. You know, the kids from the neighborhood don't have a swimming pool to swim in anymore, and kids from the neighborhood are 6 times more likely to drown. We don't have any swimming pools. We miss our chance of going to or practicing. We don't have any tennis courts anymore. We won't have probably Venus and Serena Williams come from District 2. There's not a place to play tennis. There's not a place to, well, there is a place down the street to play basketball, but for what, there were houses that are no longer there, that were part of the Green Book. So when we talk about the things that District 2 has sacrificed, this was okay in the 90s. It was never written down. I'm just asking that this be written down because when I'm gone from this seat, I don't want people to forget what happened and the sacrifice that was made. And we may not like the person that wins the District 2 seat, and that's fine, but you know, that's why we need to get out and vote and organize. Thank you.
Okay, you're comfortable with the ordinance.
Yes.
Please call the roll.
Oh, I didn't get a chance to speak.
Oh, I'm sorry. Director
Sorry.
Dobbs-Smith.
There's a couple things that I wanted to speak about with this. First of all, some of the speakers, not so much this time, but the last time, spoke about a lot of things that had nothing to do with what the A&P does. They were speaking about swimming pools and community centers and things that we do need in District 2. We need them all over the city, but that's not what the A&P does. A&P does advertising and runs the Civic Center. And there are 4 people. The question about who does that, they're people who collect the tax. If you collect that tax, then you're designated tourism or, you know, inns or restaurants or whatever. So it's people who collect it. So 4 of those seats are that. 2 seats were dedicated to people who are actually elected, who represent all of you, they may not be from District 2, but they are from the city. And then there's a third one that, in my opinion, should be part of this elected body. There's an at-large position. Well, we are at large, all of us. I would like to see the position, the 3 positions put in there and rotate amongst the directors, and that way each director would have it. And as far as the swimming pool goes, I was a volunteer at the Webb Center in 1988, and that pool was closed then. My son was in Boy Scouts here, and I was a den mother at the Webb Center. So the pool didn't get closed because of the Civic Center at that time. It was already closed. And I am a very strong proponent of cultural tourism. The way I met Cheryl Batts she was my speaker for the Youth Hot Springs when she first came to town with her Phoebe project. It opened my eyes to, I did not know about the Black Broadway, but it sparked an interest. It is something that we need, and we do need to have our Advertising and Promotion Commission address cultural and heritage tourism. But we have had a director since 1989, which is 35 years now. We've had a director from District 2, and apparently one vote doesn't help sway the Advertising and Promotion Commission. We need people to show up in force, like you're here today, to the Advertising and Promotion meetings to speak your mind and get on the agenda. You have to be on the agenda to speak. You can't just show up and talk like us. But that's what I would like to see, because I don't know that one voice is going to make that much difference. And not if the district changes, when the district changes next time, we don't know. Not only one person that was here actually lives in District 2 that spoke today. that actually spoke. I think the last
Beard
time.
lives in District 2.
Mr. Beard, he's the one person that does. And I'm not saying we don't need representation. I'm saying that I'm not sure that that's the way. I think we might have better representation if we had 3 board members who are elected from the city by the city, by different districts, and rotate that. And maybe we'll have some different voices instead of having one person who gets there and stays for life or for their entire. We've had people that have been there 20-something years. So I think it might be better to have some change and have some new voices. That's off the subject, but that's what I think.
And then
Director Beard, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. There needs to be a way for us to get our land back. People sacrificed for the expansion that's now a parking lot. Do you foresee like the convention center, like possibly selling the land back because we're back to where we were, which we have nothing? I mean, I'm hearing what you say, but this was actually just should have been written down in the 90s, and it's going to be a slap in the face for the community who had it not been for their cooperation, that convention center would still be small. It is actually the largest one in the state. And I would hate for the people that have, like, some of them don't even live here anymore, for the sacrifice that they've made to not have anything. If we don't have a seat at the table, then District 2 basically has nothing in regards to advertising and promotion. I know it's just really unfortunate. So I would ask you in return, what can District 2 have if you don't think they deserve a seat at the table or they should have a seat at the table? There needs to be something because the community sacrificed.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're focusing on ordinance 025-12. There's been a lot of good discussion on other topics, but we're here for ordinance 025-12. Any further discussion amongst the board? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Director Holliday.
No.
Beard.
Aye.
Dobbs Smith.
No.
Webb.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. Ordinance is adopted. Our final action item of the evening is to consider O-25-13, and I'll entertain a motion and a second to suspend the rules and read by title. I got Director Garcia.
Second.
Director Webb. I got a motion and a second to suspend the rules and read by title. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Please read by title.
Ordinance O-25-13, an ordinance amending ordinance number 6454, regulating short-term residential rental businesses within the city of Hot Springs, Arkansas, providing an exception for veterans with service-connected permanent and total disability rating, and for other purposes. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you would entertain a motion second to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
So moved.
Director Webb.
Second.
Second by Director Garcia. And Mr. Ryan Albright, our city attorney, will provide the report.
Thank you, Mayor. As you know, there's been a lot of talk about STRs in the last month or so. Director Webb shared with us the following at one of the board meetings, that disabilities of veterans include physical disabilities, mental health conditions, and other medical conditions. Oftentimes, these conditions prevent disabled veterans from obtaining and maintaining steady and physically reliable employment. Operating a short-term residential rental could provide a source of steady and physically reliable income to a permanently disabled veteran. The current limit of 400 short-term residential rental business licenses within our residentially zoned districts has been reached, and no additional licenses are currently available within the residential zones. It is in the best interest of the city to create a separate allotment of short-term residential rental business licenses within the residentially zoned districts that for the permanently disabled veterans. An amendment to ordinance number 6454 would be required to accomplish these intentions. And so the proposed ordinance that you're considering this evening adds a section that states U.S. veterans with service-connected permanent and total disability rating residential zoning districts. A, In addition to the aggregate maximum allowable number of short-term residential rental business licenses that are delineated elsewhere in the code, there shall be up to 25 such licenses within residential zoning districts reserved for U.S. veterans with a service-connected permanent total disability rating per calendar year, subject to a limit of 1 per immediate family. B, the application for such a license shall be limited to property titled in the name of a U.S. veteran with service-connected permanent and total disability rating who resides within the city of Hot Springs. C, the applicant must provide a confirmation of their service-connected permanent and total disability rating by letter from the Department of Veteran Affairs. D, all applications must comply with the terms and conditions of the remaining sections under Hot Springs Code 16-10-1 at SEEK. And then E, licenses issued are eligible for and subject to annual renewal pursuant to the Hot Springs Code, just like other residential licenses are subject to renewal. The renewal of existing licenses shall be given priority over initial applications for new transient use sites. Once we also have a process. Remember, if we reach our cap, the portal shuts down. If we ever drop below the portal, it opens back up for other people to come in who qualify and make application. The same would be true with regard to the 25 licenses that are reserved for this category.
I need to recuse for this. As the wife of a 100% permanently disabled veteran, I feel like I should recuse.
Okay. We have a recusal.
Oh, okay. So at this time, Brian's provided explanation. Do we have any questions of Brian? Director Garcia?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I had questions of the city attorney and I guess Director Webb as sponsor because I've been following some bills that are currently in the state legislature that are likely, or I feel likely to pass and become law that would negate the need for this. And knowing the cost associated with codification and then making the changes to the portal and the system to put additional criteria in there, the state legislature bill may become able to use quicker than we could get if this passed, quicker we could get all the changes and codification done. So I'm asking both of you, what is the appropriate to, does it create a burden or anything if it's not saving time to get the license to postpone this until action is taken by the state legislature?
Director Webb?
Thank you, Mayor. Well, Director Garcia, I respect your question, and I've been following what's happening at the state capitol as well. I do know, HB 1445, I think, is the amendment that you're referring to, and our mayor, city manager, and city attorney both went to that meeting. I think it was February 10th, correct? About 14 days ago, a couple weeks ago in Little Rock, and did a fantastic job sharing their views on why that bill doesn't really reflect the needs of Hot Springs. The city of Fayetteville and their city director on behalf of their city also was sharing testimony to show that that particular bill doesn't represent the values and needs of Fayetteville. And it's my understanding that that bill could actually not make it out of the House. So I don't like us operating here at the city level based on what we think the state might or might not do. We've got a city here of Hot Springs of 35,000+ residents, and 2,500 of those residents are veterans. And out of the 2,500 veterans that are here in Hot Springs, we've got an estimated somewhere between 500 and 700 who are disabled veterans, and a percentage of those are looking for an opportunity to help supplement their income, and they don't want to be waiting on what might or might not happen at the state level either. So if we've got an opportunity to provide supplemental fiscal assistance for disabled veterans that are here in Hot Springs, and that opportunity is right now, I would like to see us move forward right now. Thank you.
Well, my concern with moving forward is the process that we have is very detailed and takes time. The state legislature is going to act on this one way or the other in advance of an applicant being able to move through our process. And plus, we have certain requirements that are structural in nature that would cause the applicant to expend funds that may or may not have to be expended by virtue of what it comes out of the state legislature. This is a very, very fluid activity, and it would be horrible. I would feel horrible to have somebody expend time and resources to get a permit that criteria wasn't required from the state. I mean, there are some real aggressive activity going on at the state level. There are some meeting of the minds, and people are coming together. But you know, I appreciate your comment regarding Bill, Brian, and I going there. But to the degree that we went and made our feelings known, it passed. It passed. It was on the House floor. And if not but for other legislators across the state, everything that we asked for, everything that was in our ordinance would have been gutted. And so we would be requiring this applicant to do things that the state it came close, that would have caused them just to have wasted their time and resources. And I'm opposed to wasting people's time and resources. I think if we can give this 30 days, 30 to 45 days, the air's going to clear on it, and then they can move forward, and we can assist them in moving forward without needless waste of time and resources. There's just too much going on at the state for us to require them to do certain things, because I don't know what those certain things are going to be tomorrow. Director Webb?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I did take time to watch your presentation, and I do remember you bringing up this particular item as you were sharing with, the representatives and others that were in the audience. And I want to say, you even said that we've got this item coming up, and you felt like it was going to pass with probably 100%. That's what you said then. I might ask what's changed between then and now, and the cost as far as what's needed to obtain an STR. What does a permit fee cost? I thought it was $50. And if it's $50 to get the permit to apply for an STR, and something does happen with the state later on, that money could be refunded.
Yeah, your application fee is based on the occupancy load of the structure.
Okay, so break that down for me. If we've got a house that say has 4 bedrooms, what does that look like?
Sure, so
it can't exceed 200, can it?
Sure.
What can it not exceed?
So four bedrooms, that's 8, plus 2, that's 10, so it'd be $500. But I want to go back to what the mayor was talking about. This will not go into effect for 30 days if you approve it tonight. We have the cost of publishing, which, we publish all of our ordinances in the newspaper. We have to pay for that. We have to pay for it to get codified. We have to pay for a reboot of our software system downstairs to have this new category to take place. If 1445 passes or anything like it passes, we're not going to have regulations over this. Mr. Fleming spoke in favor of 1445 the day that we were up there trying to get it beat. So if you watch the whole presentation of the committee hearing, you know that. So I don't know. I don't see a problem with it, but it may be a moot issue.
I'm going to address Director Webb's comments regarding why am I talking different today than I did at the state capitol. The committee on city and county, they were really focused on taking away what we coin as home rule, for us to decide for ourselves how things should be operated at the local level, because what works in Hot Springs may not work in Fayetteville, will perhaps not work in Jonesboro or Little Rock, North Little Rock, Springdale, what have you. And so my comments to the legislative body committee was to impress upon them that we as a city board are not closed-minded to other modifications to our ordinance. That it is a living, breathing document that we can adjust. And yes, and the statement that I made, it was correct. It's correct then, and it is as equally correct now, in that we will look at opportunities to expand our ordinance to provide for an opportunity for other population groups or other segments of our society. That being said, it's still what the legislature could do, and as what Brian just alluded from the administrative side, that we would incur expense just to publish this stuff. There's a great potential for them to have expense that in 30 to 45 days with the state legislature acting on this, that's wasted resources, wasted time and wasted resources. We have certain requirements that are life safety code requirements with windows, and all that stuff has to be inspected, and a punch list has to be outlined as to what they need to do to move forward in order to gain their permit. You know, we heard things that all that's out the window. You know, so why would we move forward? I don't understand it. There may be a rush to do something for a group. I get that, but at the same time, I'd hate to have them spend money needlessly. Director Garcia.
I would also comment as a just reminder, there are 2 board members not voting. To pass, it takes 4 of the remaining 5 people to vote for passage. If that doesn't happen, this couldn't come back for 180 days because it didn't pass. If it's tabled 30 or 45 days and the state doesn't take action, as state legislators have commented to me that it likely is going to be a state law, then it can come back in that time frame, 30 or 45 days, whatever time period it's tabled to, just so everyone understands how the process works and to consider that.
Yeah, I was on a conference call. I had Brian and Bill with me on it with the Arkansas Municipal League. It was last week, I believe, and even though it did not get voted up or down with the full House, the number of solid votes against it may not be very solid, and or meaning that the ability to compromise might not be there. There may be a move to come back and go with the original 50. What was it? 1445. And there again, if that passes, everything we have in our ordinance is gone. And there's no reason for them to have to put their limited resources and energy into something that's going to be gone. So I'll entertain a motion to table. Director Garcia,
I'll move
got a motion to table?
for,
Can I say something first before we?
No, we got a motion to table.
Or do we got to vote on that first?
No, we got a motion to table. We got a second?
and
What is
what's the date?
the
Well-
length? Because otherwise it'll just
45
be the next
days?
meeting.
Whatever you choose.
Can we hear from speakers before we table it?
Nobody signed up.
Well, they came in late, and this is
Oh.
a different kind of meeting, and they're here.
I want to be fair.
Well, most people thought the meeting was at 6 today.
But if there's speakers, I would hope.
That's fine.
that
Would you want to come up?
My name is Deshaun Fleming, 209 Trojan Terrace, Hot Springs, District 4. I spoke at the Capitol or in Little Rock about my Arkansas constitutional rights. I didn't mention Hot Springs. I do feel as if though, as a veteran, as a property owner, I do pay my bills. No one pays the bills. And when there are incidents, we take care of those incidents. No one has ever come to our property and say, hey, can we help you with this? Can we help you with that? Nobody's ever done anything of that nature. So I do feel as if though we do everything on our own. And I don't feel as if though it's right for me to have to put a sign in my yard for 40 days to see what my neighbor has to say about what I'm doing with my property that I served for and that we own. That was why I spoke on 1445. And I do feel as if though I do appreciate everything you all are doing for Hot Springs. And I know that there's some things within the ordinance that are in place, and I do agree with them. But having my neighbor, and I only have one neighbor, so I know he's not disagree with it, but having my neighbor have a sign in my yard for 40 days and I got to pay the mortgage for 30 days, and I'm trying to I'm doing the right thing. I just feel as if though my life and everything is in your hands all the time. So it's kind of like since January or December or November last year, we've been sitting on this and saying, okay, well, we'll wait on it or we'll wait on it. And now it's kind of like, we'll wait on it more, we'll see what they do. Y'all have the power right now to give us the chance and opportunity. And I do feel as if though I understand what you're saying about wasting money. We don't know how much the software is going to cost. I'm willing to go ahead and put the application in. I know it's going to cost us $500 to do the inspection, things of that nature. Where is my money going when I do give the city $1,700 to use my property as I want to as a STR, as a disabled veteran? So how much is the software? How much is, this that you're out of pocket of that you don't want to do and you want to table it? It's what I'm trying to
there's physical alterations. I don't know if your windows meet the code that we currently have, that we require, that could be stripped by the state legislature. I mean, there's
and I'm willing to pay that $500 for that inspector to come check it. That's what I'm saying. So
but then you may end up having to spend $5,000.
I don't believe so. We just replaced our windows 2 years ago. We spent $30,000 on windows 2 years ago. So I don't believe that.
Well, I don't know what your dimensions are, sir. That's all I'm getting at. We're not against you. Don't get that wrong.
I feel like you're against me
Well,
when
we're
you
not.
say that you're
Can you
okay
tell
with
me
it.
what the square footage opening is of your windows for a fireman to get through?
I couldn't hear you.
Will you explain what that code is? Or Brian?
Yeah, it has to be 5 square feet. Each window has to be 5 square feet. That makes it accessible both leaving the structure and coming back into the structure.
My windows are 5 feet.
Okay.
They are.
The opening portion.
The opening. I would like the inspector to tell me no, and if I wasted my money, I wasted my money. But we're here all the time. Like she said, we thought the meeting was at 6 o'clock. The past 2 meetings have been 4 o'clock. We have children. We're doing the best we can.
No.
And we're here.
Well, and it is 7 o'clock, so you're fine.
Okay.
Is there any questions of the gentleman? Thank you, sir. Was there another individual that wanted to come up and speak? Please come forward and state your name, address, and district, please.
Hi, I'm Rosalind Fleming. I'm at 209 Trojan Terrace in District 4. I would like to thank you all for being out here dealing with the community issues for sure. I just want to say that all of this are definitely risks that we take financially on your part and my part, but I don't feel like we should wait on what's going on at the Capitol or in DC to figure out our problems today. And our problems today as veterans is that we want to be able to rent out our house short-term and make income doing that. And it starts here. Basically, it's like we're all trying to predict the future, and we can't. But right now, we need to do what we need to do, and we're relying on you guys. But that's all I want to say. And thank you for taking the time out for this.
Thank you. Director Webb?
Well, I just want to thank you for pausing that vote to allow those two residents to get up here and speak. You know, and again, I don't know what's going to happen in Little Rock. None of us do. But I know we have a chance to set the tone for what we're going to be doing here in Hot Springs tonight. And I mean, if we were able to predict the future, or if we were trying to be predictive of the future, I would have thought we would have held up acquiring that wastewater bond a few meetings ago too, because I could almost guarantee we would get better rates if we were to have waited to September of this year. So in that regard, I almost want to see if we can get an amendment added to this so that, you know, if we, and this kind of alleviates your concern of what might happen in Little Rock, but if we were to add an amendment to this ordinance to allow for those who apply for an STR permit under this ordinance, and in between now and when whatever happens at the Capitol happens, if they were to make what we're doing here tonight null and void, then the city can refund the permit fees back to disabled veterans. And I make that motion.
Second.
We got a motion and a second to amend the ordinance O-25-13. We have a motion and a second. Because we can do a voice vote, can't we? Or should we do roll call?
Probably should do roll.
Pardon?
You probably should do roll.
Call the roll, please.
Director Beard.
Aye.
Dobbs Smith. Oh, geez, recused. Sorry. Webb.
Aye.
Garcia.
Aye.
Trustee. Oh, he's absent. Holiday.
Aye.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. The motion to amend is approved, or the amendment is approved. So now we will go to the approval. Call the roll on the ordinance as amended.
So, if I may, and I mean, I'm not going to speak for Director Garcia, but she started to make a motion to table, so I'm not sure. We kind of paused that for a moment. Is that still a consideration? Because I too would like to see it tabled, especially because it will take 30 days anyway. The legislature will be almost done at that point, and quite frankly, if that legislation goes through as drafted, then there won't necessarily be a fee. There will, I mean, depending on what happens, I mean, and this isn't just for one family. This is up to 25 families that could engage in a process that then will change. And I agree with the mayor that I wouldn't want anyone to start a process regardless of the fee. The fee is one piece of it, like they were saying. And you guys know I have a ton of short-term rental owners and have heard every version of every aspect of our ordinance. It's a lot of work, and there is a chance that in the next couple of weeks, all that's gone, and they can just come and get a permit, and it'll be done and be easy. So I would like to see this tabled. I think 45 days is safe. And then if the state legislature changes something, then it goes away. It's invalid.
Okay, so we have a motion to table. Is there a second to the motion to table?
I'll second it for
We got a motion. So we have a motion and a second. Please call the roll.
Director Webb.
No.
Garcia.
Aye.
Holiday.
Aye.
Beard.
No.
Mayor McCabe.
Aye. Motion to table is approved for 45 days. So So let's,
Wait.
4 votes?
what was the number of days?
I said 45 days.
45.
Point of reference, Attorney, there's 5 of us that are voting to pass on the table. Would there not need to be 4 votes? There were only 3.
Yeah.
On the table?
On the
Yeah.
motion, we have 5 in the room, and so we had
The
3.
table fails, does it not?
No, majority of quorum.
Can we pull that up on code?
I just did.
You just did? Can I see it?
Sure, you want it in the book?
Yes?
You can get it on your machine.
Okay.
Hit your tab.
Go to here, go here.
You click a new tab.
Go here.
I mean, really?
And then,
It's also in that little book on protocol.
2-1-6.1 motions. 13, effective table, lack of motion or second. That's not where I was looking. It is 4. To table or postpone temporarily until the next meeting, non-debatable, majority of quorum.
Well, can we define majority of quorum in 5?
Quorum is 4.
Well, I know simple math, but is 3,
3 or
quorum is
5.
4. We had 5. There were 3 to 2.
Yeah, 4 is quorum.
I know
so-
3 is
so-
more than 2.
So 5 is quorum, and so majority of quorum is 3.
Would that be considered the technical definition of a majority
Yes.
in this code?
Yes, sir.
For clarification, to pass the ordinance, it would have required 4 votes.
Yes, ma'am. Majority of membership as opposed to majority of quorum.
That's the difference.
That completes the action items for this evening. Are there Board of Directors items for discussion? Items for discussion. Director Garcia.
Thank you, Mayor. You know, the city employees do a great job all year, but they're also great volunteers. We've had volunteers at our resource center, and many of you here on the board have volunteered there. I wanted to do a shout out for this past weekend with the police department and their team in participating in the polar plunge and helping raise money for Special Olympics. They took a dip in ice cold water on a chilly day, and appreciate all of them and what they did in helping raise money for Special Olympics. So thank you.
Director Webb.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. There are 3 of our city staff departments that I want to kind of give some shout outs to this evening. And Bill, you stole some of my thunder earlier. I knew you were giving the state of the city, but I don't think I knew that a lot of what you were going to say had direct ties to what I was going to share tonight. So, yeah, we're just going to say it again. But I want to start by first giving a shout out to Animal Services. And I know those of us that are here in Hot Springs pay close attention to how many positive changes have occurred here at the Animal Services Department, especially over the last 2 to 3 years. But these accomplishments, I think, deserve to be shared with the public. So I want to share a few of those. The first, the facility had an 89% save rate in '24. 89% save rate. And this also resulted in a significant increase in spaying, neutering, and microchipping. That's number 1. Number 2, the Hot Springs Animal Service now collaborates with 3 different local veterinarian clinics, and this is one of the points, Bill, that you were making earlier. The accomplishment number 3, they have increased their social media footprint to extend their audience and facilitate to greater online exposure. In December of '23, the followers of the Animal Services Department was 21,000. In December of '24, that number is over 30,000. So 9,000 additional followers in just 12 months' time. Some of the training that took place in '24, there were 2 officers, and Bill, you can help me here. Like, how many officers, animal services? Are we talking 6 to 8 in total? So out of the 6 to 8 officers that are a part of animal services, 2 of those commended a chemical capture training. 3 officers were ACO 1 certified, and then all the supervisors attended animal control conferences. That was all in '24. For '25, one of their goals is to achieve a 90% save rate. And another goal is to expand their rescue contacts. And I think we heard earlier that the third goal is to create a play, exercise, meet and greet yard. And then the 4th being to create an on-site surgical suite for spay and neuters. It's my understanding too that the Animal Services is looking to maybe build or add additional space in land that surrounds where they currently are to look at having quarters for quarantine animals, because that's something that's kind of lacking there as its own facility. They do have quarantine space, but that's inside of their main department, and they're looking to have that kind of separated from the big house, so that if any dog or cat or any animal for that matter that's taken to Animal Services has any type of disease or needs some time to be checked out, it can do so that it's away from the other pets that are located in the facility. So I hope we're able to make that happen moving forward. Department number 2 that I want to recognize is our police department, and Chief Harverton's here. He's going to be speaking with me this Thursday. So I will be standing next to a hero that doesn't necessarily wear a cape, but he definitely is a hero. And these numbers here I want to share with the public. I'm looking at the crime trends that include major offenses, and this is a 3-year comparison. This came out as part of Chief Harverton's, I guess, end of the year report for city police. So for breaking and entering in 2022, there in citywide, there were 173 breaking and entering reports. Fast forward to last year, that number all the way down to 123. You take burglary, that number was 162 reports of burglary in 2022. This past year, 152, so that's down 10. And then I want to skip to one that really is something that residents can help our police department with the most, is larceny theft. Now that could be something like shoplifting, it could be anything taken from under a carport or garage, it could be somebody checking door handles and taking stuff out of your vehicle if you have it parked. But larceny theft in the city of Hot Springs in 2022, 1,790 reports of that citywide. In '24, that number's all the way down to 1,245. Now, how does that number drop that much? Yeah, there may be more of us that are paying attention to what we're doing at home and how we're securing our vehicle and how we're securing our property and home, but that's also deterrence, and that's our police having good public relationships and building good, strong bonds with our community and providing that training to everybody, not just our law enforcement, but that training is going out to everybody. And then the last point is motor vehicle theft. That number was 199 in 2022. Last year, 126. So down 70. So kudos to our police department. Kudos to Animal Services. And then the final department that I'm going to give a shout out to today, or this evening, is the fire department. And again, a lot of that thunder was taken from me earlier, so I might re-step on some shared stats. I think we all remember what happened in April of last year, right? The eclipse. How many of us remember how safe everybody was and how protected we were and how no major incidences occurred, or tragedies, I should say, in that month, or at least in that day? That is in great part due to our fire department. Also last year, Hot Springs Fire Department managed 3 separate tornado disaster events simultaneously: Lakeland, Peninsula, and Davidson Drive, all at the same time. We talked about the new fire station coming at First Security Way. We talked about the average response time, 4 minutes and 36 seconds. That's, I don't know where that stacks in previous years, but that time has got to be a pretty good time. I mean, statewide too, nationwide for that matter. And then we look at the property conserved. That means the property value that was saved as a result of the rapidness of our fire department. $55 million worth of property that was saved. That number's huge. Then we look at personnel. We got 32 firefighters who became certified driver or operators. We got 25 firefighters who completed NFPA, 106 requirements to become core rescue technicians. You got 7 firefighters that completed requirements to become live fire instructors, and they meet NFPA standards 1403. We got 20 firefighters who recertified or newly certified ARFF Part 139. We got 20 firefighters who completed the Vent, Enter, Isolate, and Search program. We got another 20 officers who completed backdrafts, flashovers, and smoke explosions program, 17 that completed dwellings fire program, and then 30 who completed truck academy programs. That list that I just provided to you was a minuscule amount of the total accomplishments that our fire department achieved in 2024. So I want to give just a kind of collaborative shout out to our police, our fire and rescue, and our animal services. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. Director Holliday.
Hi, just one thing briefly. You know, there were a lot of people here tonight, and this was a weird night that things didn't start on a normal time, but I was just going to remind everybody that you can sign up to get notifications, and so the weirdness of tonight could have come possibly on an email or a text. It's really easy on our city website, which is cityhs.net. Click on How Do I, and then sign up for e-notifications. You can choose all of them, and your phone will be ringing off the hook, or just a few. But anyway, if you want to know what's going on in the city when there's different committee or commission meetings, or if there's a change in the board schedule, that'll come straight to your inbox. And then also to remind everybody that I believe it's March 31st is the deadline for committees and commissions sign up, but we definitely would like to have anyone who's willing and able participate and serve the city on committees and commissions. So, you know, definitely I think you could reach out to any city director if you have a question about any one of those committees, but please consider serving with the city. We appreciate it.
Any other director have a item for discussion? Director Garcia?
Thank you, Mayor. If there's no further comments, do you have any comments,
Yeah,
Mayor?
I did. I mean, Director Webb, he was going around every department.
I
giving
didn't know you
accolades.
had your second breath. I will yield
Thank
to
you.
you.
You know, being downtown, we have a lot of joggers, and some of these joggers run fairly significant distance. So I had a gentleman stop in at my place of business, and he was all sweaty, wanted to talk to me, and he said, "Man, I just came down from the southernmost end of the Greenway, and I had to go to the restroom, but the restroom was locked." And he said, "I ran, and I guess he ran faster, and got to Parks and Trails Department, stopped in there, and he couldn't say enough nice things about the staff there, and because he just wanted to find out, because he never had seen it locked before, and wanted to have an understanding why, and he was appreciative of the information and that. And then I've had people call me. I asked Bill back in the January snowstorm. You know, a lot of Central Avenue, because we run north-south, the west side of Central doesn't get much sun, ever. It doesn't get the late afternoon sun, and some of the businesses on the north end of Central Avenue asked for some additional assistance in getting the ice off the parking lane up there, and I contacted Bill, and he had the staff out there right away, and they were most appreciative. And then, you know, one of our departments, which is solid waste, those guys are really awesome, you know, because we have all these grinder pumps, and you never know when they're going to go out, but you need to get them changed right away. And I had a citizen of Hot Springs call and make comment to me regarding how personable they are, or how quick and reactive they are in getting the old pump out, the new pump in, and getting them back online, so to speak. So we have great staff throughout, you know, and Bill, that's reflection of you and the leadership team, and I've seen you work with the various department heads and the various staff that report to them, and kudos to you and all those city staff, all 626, give or take, 37. So, Director Garcia, did you have something to add?
Thank you, Mayor. I move to adjourn.
No. We got a motion? You got a second? Second? Almost had to pull it out of Director Webb this time. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. We do have one individual sign up for public commentary, so just let us change